yet another episode of Life's Cup with me, Wakili Sanita. And today on set, I'm so excited to have on board Wakili Miruri. And we want to discuss something that is so pertinent, something that affects all of us. Of course, at some point in life, tunafeel tumeshakuwa wakubwa, and we want to go to the next level, tunapendana. What next? So we're talking about marriages. Wakili, karibu sana. Kindly introduce yourself to my audience.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Kenneth Miruri, Registrar of Marriages Mombasa. Sorry.
It's okay. Yes. So Wakili, we want to talk about marriage. In life,
Yes.
Ordinarily, kishakuwa mkubwa, kishakuwa, the next thing you fall in love or you see somebody you like, and the next thing is you feel you want to get into a union with them.
Yes.
Start having babies, things like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. What is marriage?
Well, according to that, marriage is a voluntary union between a man and a woman.
You said voluntary
It
union.
is voluntary because it's not a must that you must get married. And then when you come into it, you must be voluntary. You must want to get married. You must not be pushed into marriage. And it can be monogamous or polygamous in nature. Yes.
Okay. So when you say voluntary, so what are you saying with respect to arranged marriages?
Well, arranged marriages, if I'm not wrong, are mostly performed under Hindu customary rites, right? And the Hindu customary or Hindu marriages also under the Marriage Act of 2014. So they are also considered when it comes to the Marriage Act of 2014. But because of that, we have to recognize their traditions. That's why it's allowed.
Yeah. So
When it comes to Hindu, that is.
So it's still okay as long as the parties getting married are agreeable and wamekubali ni sawa. That's it.
Mostly, see, it's done by Hindus.
Yes.
And if that is part of their tradition, whatever they do, well, it's allowed.
It's allowed,
Yes.
Okay. So now that takes me to the next question. What is the importance of marriage? I mean, should we get married?
Wow, that's a difficult question, right? Senior, because should we get married? I don't know. I cannot tell you not to get married or to get married.
Yes.
And I think the importance of marriage when it comes to, because if you decide to say marriage is more important, what about the people who are single mothers, single fathers out there? And society has accepted what they're supposed to do. But in terms, I mean, what tends to happen is that, I don't know, this would be a biased view, that children born under marriage tend to have fatherly love when they grow up. I don't know if there's something which misses when we are brought into a single parenting situation, but you don't want to be prejudiced when we talk about that. But when we go on, we see certain institutions requesting for marriage certificates, banks, insurance, and I don't know if this has an impact on people getting married, because eventually you see people getting married for the wrong reasons, and I don't know which are the right reasons. For me, the right reasons first will be friendship and then love. Not that you get pregnant and then get married. And then you are coming to the wrong start. Usually, I think you start from a certain place. And is marriage important? Yes, it is important. Is it important to people who are not married? No. People have choices to make. If you don't want to get married, it is your choice, right? You cannot force it. That's why in this office, we do not compel you to get married. If you want to get married, you just walk in. See, I want to get married to this person, you do that. And then you process the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is well stated. Yeah, I think I love a particular statement you just said that marriages, I mean, whether marriage is important or not, is left to the party to decide on that. But then again, there are some institutions that demand, are you married? Where is the marriage certificate? Things like that. So there's some premium placed on marriage.
Well, certain institutions, and I think you're talking about banks.
Yes, of course.
And the reason, and if I'm not wrong, probably, I don't know if the Ministry of Lands require for this thing. But what happens is that the banks mostly is because of property. You see the boat, if they have a joint property, and then prior to that qualification or requesting for that, the money for the marriage certificate, you see one of the spouse will either charge that property or sell the property. Now the bank will be left with either. So they decide, okay, if you have a joint property, or if you want to take a loan or a charge, kindly go for some marriage certificate. It's something to do with the protection of the party,
Of the spouse.
of the spouse, because they are conniving people.
It's true.
And recently, especially people who have more than one wife tend to play around with that, especially forgetting they have the first wife to be the second wife. So the bank will have to do that.
It happens a lot.
In fact, 2 weeks ago, I had a gentleman who requested for marriage certificate because the bank cannot give them a loan until he produces one. And he's married customarily to 2 women, so he's told, we know there's a certificate, can you produce it? Yeah, it's sort of protection for the which I think it's a good thing.
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to family property and protecting all of it.
I agree with you.
And mortgages, also mortgages. I have seen it, people who are told when they're about to take mortgages, they ask for marriage certificates. I think it's for the society protection for the spouses, which is not a bad thing.
I totally agree with you. So now, are there any protections accorded to parties who want to take marriage, as opposed to, because you know it happens a lot. Guys just come together, start living, and they assume that they are married. What you call come and stay.
Yes. But you know, come and stay is what you call a preserved marriage. And then if you can sort of prove that you've been married or stayed together, not married, stayed together for I think for 1 year. And there are certain acts to take care of this thing when it comes to the succession act, when it comes to the property of the death of the spouse. So there's no worry about that. Then the children have to take care of the children in case of anything. So I think besides the marriage act, the other acts which protect the sort of come and stay marriages, so that and this is unfortunate when you see politicians die, people come out of the
normally
woods.
see that.
And you see when they come out of the woods or the forest, the court will listen to them because they have a right.
They have a right.
They have a right.
So now
As
that
long
you
as you
talk about
can-
that,
Yes.
so what is the place of come and stay with respect to the the Marriage Act of 2014? I think the Marriage Act sought to do away with the substantive or that kind of arrangement.
Well, it didn't try. You see, like we started from the beginning, marriage is voluntary.
Yes.
So you can't, if people decide to stay together, and then they decide to leave each other. But the other acts will also protect the union. You cannot force them. That's why in the first beginning of Section 3 of the Marriage Act, it talks about voluntary rather than forcing them. And come and stay is what we call it, is more the norm rather than than the other way around. Right?
Yes.
And it depends. The question should be, what should be the duration of the come stay? Is it 6 months, 3 months? So that do you have any rights if you stay for 3 months or 2 months or more? The Marriage Act or whatever you recognize if you've been staying for more than a year or something. If I'm not wrong, but it is not defined anyway. But that is what the court will define. The neighbors, the society around you. Is known you as husband and wife for a year. Then, in case of any breakup, you need any institution or anything.
So you'll be deemed married.
You'll be deemed married, but it depends on you can have come and stay, and then you leave. You go to another guy or to another person.
Yes.
Come and stay. Come and stay. It depends on. After they come and stay, we'll stay for that 1 year. So after that 1 year, what do you want? I've seen there was a case which was very important that the lady said the man wasted my time, so I should be paid for that time I wasted. And was it a prejudice thing because the man can also, this woman wasted my time? So I think the idea of the Marriage Act of 2014 was to protect future. What we call these losses? They're speculative. I mean, it's more, and you cannot call them girlfriend and boyfriend anytime. And then it depends on the age. but we are evolving. The law is dynamic.
Yeah.
Somewhere
I
it will come to recognize them as it is. Yeah.
So now we go to the next question. Probably we should have started a little bit with this one. Who can marry? Can anybody marry?
Can anybody marry?
Yes.
In what sense? Because if you're a man can marry a woman, or vice versa, but a man and a man cannot marry in Kenya, right? Or a woman cannot marry.
So you're telling me same sex, same gender persons cannot
marry.
At least in Kenya.
Not in Kenya, it's in fact in the penal code. And yeah, it is, you can't. And then of course there are age limits. You must be 18 and
18
above.
years and above.
And then there are certain prohibitions when you are the degree, what do you call that one? Consanguinity. That one. When you're related by blood. Right? Yeah. You cannot get married if you're related by blood to your grandfather, to your cousin. But the funny thing, the Marriage Act recognizes that
some traditions,
especially in Islamic law, where cousins get married. The Marriage Act recognizes that. And there was a reason for that. If that is your tradition, you still go by it. We don't want to discriminate you. But when it comes to the Christian civil, I think in a Hindu marriage is that degree of lineage must be very bad. And of course, there are certain parameters. You must not be mentally incapacitated, right?
So you must be mentally sound.
Yeah, you must be mentally sound when you get married. So when you talk about who can get married, there's those parameters. You must be above 18, you must be related, mentally sound. And those about the parameters. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So now probably, of course, now let's talk about something that you ordinarily engage in and something that you have experience in. Let's talk about marriages under the office of the Registrar General. Just take us through that.
What happens? Okay, under the Register of Marriages, there are two forms of marriages to perform marriages under the notice, which applies to Kenyan citizens only.
Married under the notice?
Under the 21-day notice, right? And we do civil marriages here, right? And then there's a special license where one of the parties is a foreigner, or both parties are foreigners but want to get married in Kenya, right? Now we'll go by the notice. You must come to the office, both of you, present your original documents, that is your ID, passport size photos, and then we take you through some interview of some sort. The IDs will already prove your age, so we look at that. And then we go through some interviews. Are you in a prohibited situation? I mean, are you eligible to get married? You go by that. Then if you're satisfied, you pay 600 shillings. And then after 21 days, you come back again. And then there's an affidavit you sign, which is provided by the office.
A standard document.
It is a standard document. Now you're swearing that I've never been married before to any other person. I'm above 18. This is where I live. Both parties will sign, the bride and the bride. And then before the registrar of marriages, then the registrar will sign it. And then you pay a fee of about that should be 600, and then you pay a fee of 3,300.
So that's about 3,900.
Yeah, you pay, the total fee will be 3,900. Yes.
So the initial 600 is for what exactly?
The 600 is for notice.
For the notice.
So the notice is placed on the notice board.
Somewhere where?
It should be somewhere everybody can see.
Oh, the public.
The public.
Can access. So that in case you have any objections.
Yeah, and we have objections. We do.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah, we have. So far, I think I've handled 3 so far. Because and most of the time you see, because the notice was placed there, somebody came and said, I
know this guy. This guy is married to this person.
So when they come, we tell them now, put it in writing your objection, and then we look at it, and then we call the other parties, and then we arrange for for what you call an objection hearing,
Oh,
which
okay.
must take place within 7 days.
Okay.
And then
After the notice or within the notice?
within the notice,
Oh,
because remember, if the notice, the 21-day notice expires, we issue the registrar certificate.
Oh, yeah.
We'll proceed with the marriage. So this must be within the 21-day notice. So that the minute we marry you and you bring the objection, now you just go to court. I don't know what you go to file for nullification. I don't know if you have any rights to do that. But the only thing you can do then is you go to the police station or CID to file. You say this guy is married to me as a proof, so that it becomes a criminal matter. It is bigger.
Okay.
That becomes bigger. Now, during the objection hearing, we listen to your case. Does it have merit or not? If it has merit, we allow the objection. And then we don't perform the wedding. If it lacks merit, then we dismiss it. But then again, when you dismiss it, you are allowed to appeal to court within 14 days. If you thought our decision was not.
Maybe fair, maybe.
And the other form of marriage was special license. Now this one you go to the e-citizen portal.
Special license.
The special license. When one of the parties is a foreigner, or both parties could be Kenyans, but for some other reason they want to get married quickly. One of the reasons they want to get married quickly is because one of the spouses is in the country. I'm going to America, I'm going to Britain, I'm going where, and I do not have time to place the 21-day notice.
Yes.
Or you'll find some situations, some companies or banks or insurance companies, or other reasons. You'll find situations like probably NHIM. My wife is about to give birth. We have been asked for marriage certificates. I've seen this mostly being done by members of the military. Because you don't know when you're going to be posted.
Yeah.
So somebody tried to look for a special license. Now you go to the e-citizen portal, that is where you process the document. And then the timeline, I can give it probably 14 days. And then you upload the documents which are required, which is the ID for the Kenyan, the birth certificate, affidavit, or divorce decree absolute, or death certificate, depending on your situation. Then the foreigner will upload the passport, the birth certificate, certificate of non-impediment, depending on from the country you come from. If it is not in English, then it must be translated and verified by your various embassies, right? And then once it is you have uploaded your citizen, you come here for the interview, right? After the interview, then you notify Sharia House. You've done the interview, you're certified, because during the interview you come with the original documents.
Yes.
And then you produce them, right? And then you look at you, and the interview is about assessing your situation.
So the same thing we do with the
the same thing.
notice.
You can ask certain questions to whether these guys are really, and then when you're satisfied with the questions, then you communicate to Nairobi, say you've done the interview, and then there'll be invoice to pay. When they pay, the special license is sent. Then we book a date and then come and get.
So how much does the special license cost?
The special license should cost, the whole total amount should be about 9,750.
Oh.
Yeah, because you pay 7,200 on the portal invoice in the e-citizen, and then here you pay 2,500. The 2,500 is for issuance of certificates. It should be that issuance of certificate of marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. That's so elaborated.
Yeah.
So now, what are the advantages of? Guys are always undertaking marriage ceremonies, maybe the marriage itself, maybe on their own, with churches. So what are the advantages of undertaking that marriage under the office of the RG, as opposed to?
Well, the advantage of taking it under our office is because it's cheap.
It's cheap.
I don't want to use that word. Cheap is not a good word.
3,900 Kenyan shillings only, and maybe 9,000, about 9,000.
Yeah, I won't say cheap, I will say it's cost effective. Cheap is bad.
Yeah.
It's cost effective. Yeah, comparatively.
It makes sense in these economic times.
It does make sense. It makes sense throughout, because I always tell people when they come here, the certificate you get from the church is the same one you get here, especially now with the marriage act of 2014. because remember the registrar of marriages is the one who delegates his authority for churches to perform their marriages. He's the one who licenses the pastors to do their marriages. He's the one who gives them books.
Yes.
So that when you get married in church, you're supposed to leave one certificate there, bring one to the registrar of marriages, and you get one. So technically, is that the registrar of marriage delegating power?
Delegated authority.
Delegated authority, yes, exactly. And church marriages tend to be
Expensive. Very expensive.
Because we are talking about figures of probably $500,000.
It's true. That's true. And guys calling others for harambees, and being invited to groups did not want to be there.
And then you're forced.
Yes, that's the one.
You're like, man, I'm in the group. Somebody is getting married, which is weird because
it doesn't make sense.
People have stayed for 10 years, but they're not thinking about getting married. Why they put money aside?
Exactly. I mean, just live within your means, do what you can. So, guys, you've listened to that. Kindly just, instead of you, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think there could be everything wrong with that. Instead of you calling out people and inviting people in groups that they do not want, they did not consent to. So please just come to the registrar, that is the Office of the Attorney General, for this exercise. Where you only spend about 4,000 Kenyan shillings, less than 4,000. And if maybe you want an expensive one, less than 10,000.
Exactly.
And you have a certificate, and you can always go to your, what do you call that?
You can go for your reception, honeymoon with the money you saved. With the money you saved, actually. And I've seen the problem most of the time. People confuse weddings with marriage. That is the biggest problem. Because people want to show up at weddings, dress up. They assume a wedding is a marriage. This is a different process.
So marriage is basically a legal.
Marriage and no. You see, marriage begins during the wedding and throughout your life. The wedding is that day. That day, and then you are happy, it's done.
Because they said an election is a process.
Exactly.
It's not an event. So maybe it's an event. Marriage is a process.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, marriage is a qualitative process.
Yes.
It's not quantitative. Now, a wedding is a quantitative process. You can use the
just comes.
Just to come, you spend $500,000.
Imagine.
And to feed people, by the way.
Imagine.
Because the majority of the budget for weddings is about feeding people.
It's true. I agree with you.
I think it's about 2/3 of it, right? And then the other is clothes, cars, and then you're happy for the cameras.
You have to keep up. You need to look good. And
Exactly.
you need people to sing about it for the next few days.
Yeah, exactly. Society pressure.
But it is not necessary. Think about it, guys. That's not necessary.
What I'm saying is, if you can afford it without damaging your pocket,
exactly.
But do not pressure yourself if you cannot do it.
Exactly.
Don't pressure yourself.
So there's always this option of coming to the office of the AG under the Registrar General's Department, where you can actually undertake this process stress-free, yani hakuna stress kabisa.
Yes.
So you can call in all your friends who are waone witnesses, and you can always do a reception ama the wedding later.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So now, Akili, on to my last question.
Yes.
So currently now as a speaker, given that we talked about the Marriage Act of 2014, it sought to bring in some, let me say, some little bit of amendments and maybe what the Kenyan society really wants. Customary marriages. Yeah. What is the place of customary marriages under the new regime? Because I understand that now there's some certificates that the office of the AG issues.
Yes.
Please talk to us about that.
Now, in fact, I forgot to mention when I talked about the forms of marriage performed here. There's a notice, special license, and the customary marriage.
Customary marriage.
Yeah, we issue certificates. It's more or less the same process, but the difference is because you've been married customarily, we don't take you through the whole process, but we'll do some sort of interview to establish whether you've undergone the customary rights as per the place where you went to perform them. Now, and the duration for them is about 14 days rather than 21 days.
Okay.
Because we presume the fact that if you're satisfied that you perform these rights there, then we're satisfied. Then, but there's a form you fill, which is taken back to the area chief where you perform this customary thing, customary marriage, whereby you acknowledge that yes, in fact, this took place at this homestead, and this place on the area chief and then the stamp. Now that is the first stage, and then there is the noting, of course, and then there is an acknowledgement of customary marriage, which is after we acknowledge now, after you have brought all this, we acknowledge now you're married in the customary law, and then you issue a certificate, a certificate of marriage, but it's written customary. But below there, it is written that this certificate, marriage under customary law, is potentially polygamous. We are telling you.
We change the law. We now.
We are telling you it is potentially polygamous. So that if you are getting married
to this guy, he can always get subsequent.
He can get another wife and a wife. And that somehow, because I think is it last week, a couple wanted to get married and. No, they've done their traditional thing completely. So they wanted the certificate. When they came to the office, they told them, okay, this is the customary, but remember,
potential.
It is polygamous or potential. So we can go out, we can bring another wife here legally.
Yes.
Hey, no. Let me go with the civil thing.
So I love that fact.
Yeah, it is.
So you're telling us that guys need to be wary, or other people need to be wary that when you are dealing with customary marriages, but your intention is to actually undertake a monogamous marriage, a union.
Yes.
You better have that one done, the simple one.
Yes, but
not usikuje na hiyo. Ndio unaweza fanya hiyo traditional.
Unaweza fanya traditional.
Sijakataa, lakini usikuje hapo ukisema unataka certificate. Kwa hiyo traditional customary, because inasema potentially. In fact imeandikwa. So that if you get another nyumbani usije kulia. Sema ati you are shortchanged or something.
But in there are certain people, a certain age bracket, probably 50. Ambao to them it's not a problem because aliyowabibiwa kwanza alafu akona mwingine, as long as the first wife is married traditionally, you can marry the first one and the second, but the first one kama you marry church or single, you have to decide whether you want to convert that one to traditional.
Also you can also convert the monogamous ones into
you can convert there's a declaration, you swear it's taken to the restored marriages, you declare I want to marry another first wife tradition, because you must respect her, right? And then you marry another wife. That part of the act where consent was required was in the act before it was parliamentarian decided to reach.
But of course, we men, what do you expect?
But that is their own unique.
Yes.
Because I doubt I don't know, but I will be speaking out of any woman will consent.
Well,
I don't know.
we do.
Some do. I mean, I've seen it on TV these days, and I've seen it on TV where
we've seen a man hanging out with 3 sisters. I mean.
Yeah. It is what it is, and the way you like it.
Yes. So hatuna mambo mingi sana. Ukimleta bora tu she knows her place, I know my place. Umeniweka vizuri, I mean sure.
It's not illegal, is it?
No, it's not.
Yes.
So guys, I really hope that you picked something from this conversation, and most importantly, you've known that there is a cheaper, well, may not be the right term, but of course effective way of undertaking marriage, doing your wedding, without the need of calling out guys for harambee and still distressing people. Don't do that. Okay. And secondly, it's very, very important for you to know what kind of union you envisage. If you envisage a monogamous union, then be wary. Tukuja kwa ofisi, kama ulikuwa unafanya traditional huko nyumbani, utakuwa certificate ya potentially polygamous. So unakuta ukisema, but then you ask guys if the intention is a potentially polygamous one ama ni monogamous. You ask them that question.
Yes, we do.
Normally, I take these rights, customary rights as a matter of
Yes, it's
course.
part of the interview process.
Oh, it's part of
so
so that
you guide them.
you guide them. Oh, thank you very much. Wakili,
Yes.
nashukuru sana. This was very informative.
Yes.
Yeah, and I believe guys are taking something from this discussion.
I hope so.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
Ah.
Thank you.